Spoiler alert for Mushoku Tensei Volume 9. If you haven't read it, then I suggest you do so before continuing on to this video. Rudeus is now at school, enjoying a normal, boring life. But little does he know, even this little boring school life can sometimes surprise you. Hello everybody, this is the Anime Bro here, and welcome to another video. And today, I'll be reviewing Mushoku Tensei Volume 9. Now before this video starts, please like, share, and subscribe for more videos just like this. And come back next time as I talk about Volume 10. And now, let's begin the video. So the first thing I want to talk about is the story. Now Volume 9 was definitely better than Volume 8. With Volume 8 having this big introduction to meet all the new characters, Volume 9 just got into a story. So we get to see many of the main characters, and we also got to see them interact with each other. And there's many moments in there that I did enjoy, and some of them I didn't really enjoy. Altogether, it was, in my opinion, better than 8. Especially during the end where we get a big surprise, and I'll get to that in a bit. A lot of things happen in this volume. For example, we get Cliff dating Elijah. We get some interactions with Sylphine and the princess. And we also get the reveal of another earthling in this world. Now, the main reason I kind of think that this was better than Volume 8 was definitely Sylphine and Rudeus' moment. Again, I'll get into detail what happens in that moment. But eventually this ends on a very happy note. Rudeus gets his cure for ED, and eventually it seems like everything gets better for him. Now I should clarify, even though I think this was better than Volume 8, I would still have to say it was a good volume. Not a great one, but definitely a good one. I do have some problems with it. Some of the moments I thought were really weird, and although it had a better flow to it, it was still the slice and life school thing. And like I said in Volume 8, I kinda don't like that. It wasn't just many different moments in one like Volume 8 was. It really did have a great flow to it. But still, I thought this volume really did have some issues. Now I get that there's going to be someone in there who loves this volume and says like everything is great about it, but to me, I just think the school setting is a setting I am not going to enjoy, no matter what. Alright, now let's talk about some characters. Now the first character that I want to talk about is Cliff. So when we first meet Cliff, it was all the way in Volume 5. We had a side story where he was going on a quest with Eris, and he was very arrogant. I really didn't like Cliff, and he still is pretty arrogant. He's a prodigy like Rudeus, but kind of the opposite, where Rudeus is very humble and kind of doesn't see him as the strongest. Cliff is very arrogant and thinks everyone should bow to him because he is very powerful. And what also doesn't help is the fact that he is grandson to the Pope. So he kind of has some connections in him. Of course, he's not a direct descendant of the Pope. In fact, he was actually adopted, so it kind of does add to the arrogancy that he has. And just one thing I really don't understand about this volume is he starts dating Elijah, and honestly, I don't see it. Like, apparently he was very passionate about researching a way to lift her curse, and she liked that, so that's happening. Honestly, I kinda didn't really like that. I still don't like Cliff, even though he is kinda better, but I just really don't like this character. Next is Badigadi, and I probably butchered that because I'm not really good with names. Now, Badigadi is a demon king who came from the demon continent. He was looking for Rudeus because his fiancée, Kikisha, gave Rudeus praise, and he kind of wanted to see his strength for himself. Now, Badigadi is like a warrior type. He really likes fighting. In fact, when we first meet him, he's actually beating up so many kids because each of these kids wanted to fight Rudeus. It's kind of like a beast folk thing. It was mating season, so like an animal thing. So they were all trying to fight Rudeus so that they could marry the two girls that were being presented as prizes. But anyways, back to Badigadi. He's just very warrior-like. He has a warrior spirit. He even let Rudeus get a free shot in just to see his strength. And now he's a teacher at the school. And that is basically it for him. He doesn't have like a big presence in this chapter. He's just there occasionally and just hangs out with Rudeus whenever he gets the time to. But in this volume, he's actually an enjoyable guy. So I really do like that about him. Next, we got Princess Ariel. Now, we have met Princess Ariel before. In fact, most of the side stories before this moment actually have Princess Ariel in it because of Fitz. So, most of the things we know about Ariel kind of come from way before in the other volumes. So Princess Ariel is a candidate for the throne of Ashura. She is thought to be dead in her kingdom, but she was luckily able to escape to the University of Magic. She's very good friends with Sylphine, to a point where she actually wants to help Sylphie get with Rudeus, because they both see each other as very good friends. She is trying to become a queen of Ashura, mostly after the teleportation incident, because that was when one of her bodyguards were killed and she was very close to him, and in his dying wish he wanted her to become queen because he knew that she would one day fix the problems that the kingdom would be going through. And at school she is respected by a lot of people, and she is also the student council president, which would help her in the future because she would have attendants and also allies from other kingdoms to help her succeed the throne. And if I learned anything about Game of Thrones, connections really mean a lot when you're trying to rule over people. So yeah, that's basically what I have on Princess Ariel. Next, we got Luke, one of the attendants of Princess Ariel. Now, his role is to guard her with Fitz. Now, believe it or not, Luke and Rudeus are cousins because they both share the Grey Rat name. But not only that, he also shares the Notice Grey Rat name, which is Paul's last name. Also is very similar to Rudeus. He loves girls with big boobs, and apparently that's a genetic thing in the Notice family. Now, just like Princess Ariel, he is also great friends with Fitz, to a point where he actually gives her an aphrodisiac for Rudeus. Now, he didn't do it for Rudeus' sake. He definitely did it for her. They really care about each other, and I really do like this trio. It shows deeply how much they care about each other when they go out their way to help Sylphie out with her dilemma. Now, the biggest thing about Luke that I find interesting is that he really hates Rudeus. I don't know why. Maybe because he's Paul's son and Paul just abandoned the family, but he really doesn't like Rudeus. So that is really just something I find interesting. And also really does show that he cherishes Sylphie so much that he's willing to give up his hatred over Rudeus for her. And then finally, we got Silent, or Nanahoshi Shizuka. Now, the reason why I want to keep her last is because she's actually an earthling, someone who was teleported into this world instead of reincarnated like Rudeus was. Now, she had been traveling with Orsted for a while. In fact, the first time we actually ever meet her was when Rudeus almost died. She was the girl that was right beside him and seeing him totally annihilate Rudeus. Now, while traveling with Orsted, she learned many ways to earn money passively so that she can work on the one thing she wants to do, and that is to go back to Earth. Unlike Rudeus, who had a terrible time on Earth, she really wanted to go back and see all the family members that she missed. And also what I find interesting about her is that she was the cause of the teleportation incident. Not willingly though, she was forcefully teleported here. It kind of started the whole chaotic moment that really reshaped this world. And just one last side note is that she kind of helped things around the school. She was the one that made it where everyone had a uniform. She was there to add blackboard. She also helped for recipes for lunch and stuff. So she kind of is the one who introduced all these Japanese customs to the school. So that was kind of interesting. Alright, now let's get into the next part of this video. Now normally in this video I would actually have locations here, but sadly we don't actually have a new location. We were mostly at the school, so that is that. What I will be talking about though is comments. Now honestly I love you guys' feedback in my videos. Whether I get something wrong, whether you guys suggest me a light novel, I really do like it because it really shows you put in the time and effort to actually do something in my videos, and I really do love seeing the interactions that everyone is putting in the comment section below. And if you actually want to be in the next video where I do this, then honestly comment down below. I would love to see your comments and I would love to read them. Now there won't be any like silly comments. It's mostly just some comments that help me fix a point that I made a long time ago and actually correct me. Which is fine because I am a human being after all. I'm not perfect in any way. I am just a guy making YouTube videos, and if I need to be corrected, well then I will be corrected. So the first comment comes from BanaaniApina, and I am so sorry if I butchered your name, man. I really am terrible with names. Now his comment is, just in case you misunderstood, not all demons are immortal. Only certain so-called immortal demons are immortal. Most demons are just mortal with many different lifespans. Thank you so much, man, for the comment in the videos. So in Volume 4, I really did think that all demons were immortal, because this was the first time we saw Kashirika, and I know I'm probably saying it differently from earlier, but like I said, I am terrible with names. So when we first meet Kashirika, I thought that all demons were actually immortal. But then I remembered that Roxy is from the demon race, and her people aren't immortal. They have a long lifespan, but they themselves are not immortal. So thank you, man, for actually correcting me on that. Lucas van Wijngaarden. I think I said that right. Again, I am terrible with names. I hope you can forgive me, man. And the comment says, Priscina and Liana have the same status. They're from the Dolida village, which is ruled by either Adia or Dolida tribal leader. The Dolidine currently are in charge, but leadership can change between the two tribes. Thank you so much for commenting, man. And this one I actually probably just totally forgot. They were very similar. I thought there was something different with them, and I knew one of them was heir to the throne. I just didn't know it was both of them. So thank you so much for actually doing that. It's an interesting dynamic in terms of like a monarchy system going, because I wonder if there has ever been a civil war, because dual powers is a dangerous thing to actually have, because if one side is not really satisfied, there could be a big civil war which causes like deaths and stuff. For example, let's put in a recent example for Hot D. So Hot D is about the Dance of the Dragons, and the Dance of the Dragons is basically a giant civil war between, well, the Targaryen family, one who supports Aegon II and the other who support Rhaenyra. And in this battle, a lot of people die, both in terms of population of Westeros and also just family members of the families. And especially with a dual leadership like this, I could see a civil war happening. We might not see it because this is Rudeus' story and not really the Beast Folk story, but that's an interesting thought I should add to this comment. And like I said again, thank you so much, dude, for commenting down in this video. Now, the last comment that I have isn't really a critique on something I've said or just something I haven't really mentioned. It's mostly something that someone wants from the future. And thank you so much from BanaaniApina again for commenting in this video. And the comment goes like this. I will have to ask, will you read Redundancy, O Dragon's Tale, and Subjugation of the Dragon King when you finish the main series? I'm mainly asking because I would love to see another video of you comparing the six-faced world of Mushoku Tensei and Tolkien's Middle-earth after you've finished the whole of Refusion's work. Now, I got to say 2 things about this comment. First off, it's not Tolkien's Middle-earth. Middle-earth is one continent on the entire planet. It really is just Earth, but way, way back, like before us humans dominated the whole Earth. So that's just basically something I have to say. I'm not really angry about this point. I just wanted to share like a Tolkien fun fact with you. And secondly, maybe. I don't know, because I actually looked these up when I saw this comment, and they are actually in digital form. Not saying I don't like digital works, it's just that I prefer a actual physical copy compared to digital stuff. The only time I actually would read something that's digital is if I really do like the story itself. For example, I'm fine with reading One Piece digitally because I love the series itself, so I'm going to enjoy actually sitting there. I'm enjoying Mushoku Tensei right now, but I don't know if I will actually be able to do this. I do like the video idea of comparing Mushoku Tensei and Tolkien's works again. It's just the fact that I won't actually know if I will actually read these tales, because if it's not something I'm interested in, then I'm sorry, it won't happen. But we got a lot more books to go through, so maybe I'll change my mind when I get there. But yeah, that's basically my answer to that. And that is the end of the comment section. I really do like reading the comments that you guys have down below. And hopefully in the future, I get more interesting comments like this. Either that will correct me when I do something, which most likely will happen, or just something that I might be interested to share in the far future. Alright, now let's talk about iconic moments. So the first iconic moment that I want to talk about is Rudeus meeting another earthling. So during the times when Rudeus is actually studying the teleportation incident, Fitz actually mentions that there's someone here that's actually studying teleportation runes. And because of this, Rudeus eventually goes and meets up with that person. And to his surprise, it turns out that the person who's learning about teleportation was also the person that was with Orstrid. And when they first meet up, he kinda is panicking and runs away and eventually passes out. And eventually he wakes up, sees her, and also panics a bit. And yeah, that's basically all in the moment. Now I want to include this because this is the first time we get to see someone from Earth. And it also puts a bit more backstory to the teleportation incident. Because when she was teleported here, it was actually during the exact same time the teleportation incident had occurred. We also get to see like the differences between Rudeus and her. She actually wants to go back and doesn't really care much about this world. In fact, I don't think she even cares what happens to it. While Rudeus actually wants to stay and live his own life here and eventually live a new life that was better than the one in his previous life. But he does help her out, so I guess everything ends good there. And that's basically all I have to say about this part. Next is Fitz falls on Rudeus. So after Rudeus meets up with everybody in his friend group, he eventually feels down because everyone's doing something while he is stuck all by himself. And normally he would spend this time with Fitz, but Fitz isn't around. And what also didn't help was that when Rudeus was out in the town, he actually saw Fitz with Luke. Now, it's eventually learned that this isn't actually Fitz, this is actually Princess Ariel disguised as Fitz, but when Fitz didn't actually answer, he kind of felt bummed out and felt depressed. Kind of had the same feeling he felt in Volume 7. Now, I'm telling this point because it leads up to Fitz falling on Rudeus. So, when eventually Fitz comes in and greets him like normal, he was wondering why he was silent towards them when they met in the town. And I think Fitz gives a description like he needs to have a silent thing. But anyways, something eventually happens where Fitz accidentally falls on Rudeus. And it's here that Rudeus actually wonders the gender of Fitz. Because when Fitz actually falls on him, his little buddy actually reacts. And he's very surprised about this. In fact, he actually questions throughout the whole volume and even volume 8 before, like, is he gay? Like, does he actually have an attraction to men? And Fitz tells him he is a man, but he still wonders and thinks about Fitz.
after that incident. But honestly, I just put this here because it's a Sylphie and Rudeus moment, and I really do like that. Next is Princess Ariel helps Sylphie get together with Rudeus. So after we get through Rudeus's perspective, we get to Sylphie's perspective. Princess Ariel talks about how she actually met up with Rudeus. And also Luke mentions how when he went to meet with Rudeus, he didn't want to do anything that would expose Fitz that much. And the one thing that they wonder is, what does Sylphie want mostly to do with Rudeus? And to actually make her say her true self, the princess basically commands her that if you don't tell me what you want to do with Rudeus, then honestly from here on out, you are forbidden to actually ever meet up with him. And it's because of this that Sylphie actually talks straight to the princess and says, hey, I want to marry Rudeus. I want to be with him forever, and I hope to have a family with him. And instead of being like a master and servant, where the princess is saying, how dare you, I am first, you need to do what I say first and then worry about yourself, the princess actually is willing to help her. Not only that, but Luke is also willing to help her. And they say mostly that they are friends first. They aren't master and servant, they are friends. They've been through so much throughout the many years, and Princess Ariel owes a lot to her. And if she wants to marry the man of her dreams, then she really does deserve it. And like I said, I really do like this trio. They really do care about each other, especially since you learn about the stuff they've been through. And honestly, Sylphie deserves to be happy too. So that's really great. And then the next moment that I have is Sylphine reveals herself to Rudeus. So eventually the trio of friends talk about a plan to reveal Sylphie to Rudeus, or try to make Rudeus remember Sylphie. What they're going to do is try to actually recreate a situation that was in the first volume, which was when it was raining and Rudeus stripped their clothes. Now, at the time, it was actually a bad moment and caused kind of a trauma for Rudeus because he was really sad that he won't see her again, and that was kind of why he never wanted to do something like that. And you also get to see that this trauma was still something that happened even to now, because when Rudeus was actually stripping his clothes and trying to stay warm by taking off his wet clothes, he realizes that Fitz isn't. And instead of forcefully taking off at first, he actually comes up with many different ways to actually avoid not doing that. And eventually, Sylphie just asks him, hey, can you take off my clothes? And he just goes and does it. As soon as they take off their clothes, Rudeus eventually asks her, is your real name Sylphine? And because of this, Sylphie actually says, yes, I am. And then she eventually says that she loves him. And also afterwards we get like the moment where Rudeus, his little friend, actually reacts again, but this time it doesn't go all the way, mostly because he is actually traumatized by Eris. And unlike Sarah, who actually kind of left when he had this problem, Sylphie actually was able to hear him out and they kind of understood the problem. And I do like this moment because it was totally different from Eris and Sarah. While Eris and Sarah both left him afterwards, she was still there listening, and it really was good that Rudeus was able to find someone who was willing to just stay there and listen to him. I think it was good that he had someone else with him to hear him out and just stay with him. And of course, this is not the final moment. By the time I'm actually recording this, and I think also the time I'm actually posting this, the second season of the anime hasn't come out yet. So this may be this ending of the second season, just like how the season 1 ended. And for those who know where I'm going with it, I'll just say this: Sylphie and Rudeus sleep together. So after they execute the plan, Sylphie and Rudeus basically go their separate ways. Sylphie goes to the student council's room, and Rudeus goes to his own room. Sylphie tells the things that she learned, like Rudeus's ED problem and also how successful the plan was. So a lot of things were very successful for the group, and it's all happy and stuff. And Sylphine tells them that she wants to be the one to actually help Rudeus with this problem. And we also get a big moment for Luke, where Luke actually provides an aphrodisiac for Sylphine, and this eventually puts more respect to him, that he was able to put his love for Sylphine over his hatred for Rudeus. And eventually Sylphine goes over and helps Rudeus out. Now, of course, they don't go in there and just sleep together straight away. They talk about the past, like the time they learned magic, and also the first time they met, and also some things that they remember from their childhood. And then eventually they both drink the aphrodisiac, and then they end the night having sex with each other. Now, this eventually would cure Rudeus's ED, and also I think would kind of cure his trauma, because honestly, at the very end, he was really happy. And I put this moment here because it's also a Sylphine and Rudeus moment, and obviously the book is pushing to this, and I guess they are together now. And everyone's happy. Sylphine's happy, she got to reunite with her first love, and Rudeus is happy because he has someone he could talk to now. You know, it was a good way to end the book off.
Alright, now it's time to end this video. So if I were to rank this volume, honestly I would rank it a B. Now, unlike volume 8, where the biggest thing was mostly the beginning where we get to see the school, volume 9's biggest thing is, I think, more important. While volume 8 just showed us the school and all the new characters that we had, volume 9 really kind of felt similar to volume 7. Towards the end, not really the beginning part. And I really did like the ending where Sylphine and Rudeus actually become an official couple. It is not a perfect volume, but honestly, in terms of how it wasn't a big disappointment. Yeah, sure, in the beginning it was pretty slow, and we still had some moments of like the slice and life bit, but towards the end, I really did like how this ended. Hopefully in the far future, Sylphine and Rudeus will have a family, and we get to see their journey through there. Because honestly, after suffering through so much, Rudeus deserves to be happy. And it's looking like this is a good start in the right direction. Alright, and that is the end of this video. If you really enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe for more videos just like this. And come back next time as I talk about Volume 10. Rudeus and Sylphine are finally a couple, so let's see where this road goes. And as always, I am the Anime Bro, and see you guys later. Peace!